Hey, Shad here with Speed Addicts, the fastest growing gear site on the web, and today we've got a big day for you. It's all new. It's the Shoei Neotec 3. What's up, Speed Addicts fan? Before we dig our teeth into this juicy new helmet from the folks at Shoei, we're excited. Doesn't happen very often. We got a new Shoei in the studio. Very exciting day. But before we do that, do us both a favor. Subscribe to the Speed Addicts channel. Get a first look just like you're going to get today. All the time. Be subscribed. You don't have to worry about missing out. You're going to get educated on all the latest parts and gear. You're going to make excellent buying decisions. You're going to be a happier person. You're going to ride faster maybe. I can't guarantee the last part, but subscribe. We appreciate it. Also, if you would like to help us out here at Speed Addicts, you can also just shop with us, okay? That's the number one way you can support us. It helps keep the lights on here. Support an independent company. Don't spin with those corporate monoliths. Us here at Speed Addicts, we really appreciate your business, and there's a link in the description below that'll take you right over to our complete selection of Shoei Neotec 3s as soon as they launch, which is going to be April 2024. Almost there. More on that in a minute. Okay, so the Neotec 3, a gold standard of the highest quality modular helmet you can really purchase, okay? There's a few near peers, but really when someone wants a modular helmet and they do not mind spending, we usually point them towards a Neotec 3, just because the quality is there. Shoei is known for very meticulous quality control and design prowess. Nothing has changed here. The Neotec 3 is going to deliver on all those fronts. What they've basically done here is they've made some real subtle updates. In fact, when it came in and we started looking at it close to the Neotec 2, nothing huge jumped out at us right away, but the longer you look at it, the closer you look, and what I'm going to make it real easy for you here to understand are these subtle changes. They massage this thing like a slice of Wagyu A5. They know what they're doing over there in Japan. Very subtle changes, like a Porsche 911. You see the new 911, you know, they didn't throw the whole thing away and start over. The same's true here. Very minor changes that add up into something that is substantial and that you're probably willing to fork over nearly, or in the case of the graphic colors, a full $1,000, okay? So we're talking, or $99999, you get the picture, okay? So not inexpensive, 5-year warranty from Shoei, and when quality counts, you just want the best. Shoei is one of our prime picks. So what we have here is an AIM. I'm going to put the old Neotec 2 so you can start understanding some of the slight design cues while I tell you about some of the specs. Shell material, AIM Advanced Integrated Matrix. So this is their AIM Plus shell construction, which is a composite shell. The chin bar, of course, is polycarb. That's not unusual for modular helmets. That's usually how that works. The weight still in that close to 4-pound range, 3 pounds, 12 ounces-ish. We're still early days, so we're not exactly sure to the exact gram or ounce what the DOT version of this helmet is going to weigh, but we're guessing kind of in that 1,700 grams range. Now, modular helmet's not always the lightest helmet. You're giving up a little bit of weight to get the chin bar that comes up, okay? That's just a standard trade-off you're gonna make. There are some exotic carbon fiber modulars that can get it closer to 3.5 or even 3.25 pounds, pretty rare. Most of them weigh near 4 pounds or over. In terms of the fit, there's not really a change. You wouldn't notice the fit difference between the new Neotec 3 and the older Neotec 2, just in terms of the shape and the size fit, okay? Intermediate oval head shape, nice Shoei ear pockets, very comfortable place to be. They're using 4 shell sizes to make up the full run on the Neotec 3, which I love. So order by the sizing chart, order by your experience. If you are a former Shoei owner, you're going to want to order that same size in the Neotec 3 with confidence. They'll have sizes extra small through 2 extra large. And because they're using many shell sizes to make up that range, you don't have to worry about the chin bar dragging on your chin. A lot of cheaper modular helmets, they'll use 2 shell sizes, and when you get into the bigger sizes, especially like I wear an extra large, they always end up hitting me on the chin. They don't quite close over my face. Not here. It's one of those things you're paying a premium for. Modular helmets are very expensive for a manufacturer to make, because they not only have to make the standard helmet mold, but they make a completely separate mold for a chin bar, not to mention all the extra gear in here that helps this thing latch and be secure. So more complexity, more molds, more price, and all that with the Shoei quality and 5-year warranty makes you understand why these solid colors on the Neotec 3 are going for $899. Currently, the Neotec 2, as they're closing this out here, or as it's ending its life in production, currently the last and highest MSRP on the Neotec 2 for solids is $799. And like I said, the Neotec 3 is going to come out at $899. So it's a $100 increase, which, given what we've seen with helmet prices and everything prices recently with inflation, I mean, that's not all that shocking. Now, the graphics are going to go for $999. $1,000 for a helmet. It's tough, but a lot of their peers are kind of creeping up there as well, not only for modular helmets, but for full-face helmets as well. Helmet manufacturing, especially composite helmets, is time-consuming when you do it in a country like Japan with the higher cost of labor, ultra quality materials, and just the amount of hours they put into each helmet. Well, the best doesn't come cheap. Okay, let's look. And by the way, this graphic, this is called the grasp. They're going to have 2 graphics initially with a few different colors on each graphic design, and then 7 solid colors. So they'll have the whole gambit, and Shoei is really good about their solids. So you'll have a pretty good selection. Again, April 2024 is when we expect the Neotec 3s to hit the United States, and that could push either way a little bit. You never know when it comes to supply chain stuff, but that's when we expect that to go live. And also at that time, we expect there still to be some Neotec 2s in the pipeline, so the Neotec 2 might hang out for a little bit. Okay, that's what to expect and when you can purchase your Neotec 3 at speedaddicts.com. Now let's check these out. A few of the first things you're going to notice in the update. Neotec 2 over here, Neotec 3 over here. Again, this is the grasp graphic. What they've done is their primary objective was to make the Neotec 3 quieter and more aerodynamically sound. Because this customer, you folks watching this video who want a high-end modular, typically on a touring machine, high-end customer that wants a nice, quiet riding experience, okay? We get asked a lot about the noise level in helmets, and it is highly subjective in most cases, but objectively, Shoei is one of the quieter modulars around, and thus we usually recommend it to those customers, as well as one of its near peers out of Germany. We won't talk about them today, but they wanted to make the Neotec 3 quieter than the Neotec 2. One of the ways, just top to bottom, they did that was reducing the size and footprint of this top vent. You see it on this Neotec 2, giant paddle vent up here, taking up a lot of space. They backed that way off. That's going to save weight. It's also going to save aero and noise dragging over that vent, but Shoei assures us that it's going to flow the same amount of air. That's we'll get back to that vent in a minute. Down low, some design cues on the design of the vent have changed. Otherwise, when you look at this, looks pretty similar. We'll go over some of those more subtle differences I hinted at earlier when we get to the rest of the helmet, but interior drop-down sun visor, flip-up chin bar. Let's look at the sides real quick. Integrated comms, the Shoei Rider Link system, SRL. They're going to continue on that integration, but with a smaller footprint. And yes, a new integrated unit from Shoei, the SRL-3. So they already had the original SRL, the SRL-2, the new SRL mesh, okay, for the Neotec 2. So they went through a few iterations, and they're going to evolve it again and make it smaller. You see how slim this footprint is on this new SRL-3 that clips in there, as opposed to this big triangle that they have on both sides. Same here, it's going to go on both sides, okay? And then the battery pack in the back, just like the older SRL kit here. Now, the specs on that, I don't have quite yet, but what I'm told is it's going to be equivalent to the current SRL mesh unit, which means you're going to get full mesh and the Harman Kardon speakers. Again, this is made by Sena, and it's basically like a 50 series equivalent, and it'll run kind of in that 300 or 350, 360 range, okay? So if you have a Neotec 2 with integrated comms, guess what? You get to redo it all again. You know, they're trying to stay current and evolve and give you a smaller, lighter comm system. I get that, but it is a bummer if you did just purchase one of those SRL mesh units. Okay, otherwise the back of the helmet is relatively similar, just things have been kind of reduced. They just kind of hit the reduce button. This rear diffuser and vent package is just a little smaller, a little more subtle, and they don't have this big swooping, you know, whale's tail in the back, just smoothed out here. It's supposed to be quieter, less drag. Shoei's got a gnarly wind tunnel at their testing facility in Japan, where they can hook up an array of microphones and really fine tune every bit of the aero on this helmet. When you flip them over, again, you notice the shape and the entry. It's like holding two watermelons here. Okay, let's see if I can balance it. Very, very similar. There's a slight difference. The buckle, the ratcheting buckle mechanism is a little smaller in the new one. Otherwise, the interior materials, the EPS venting and all that kind of guts are very, very similar. Okay, so with that comparison out of the way, let's get back just to the new Neotec 3 here. So the ventilation, like I mentioned before, they have downsized it a bit, made it more sleek. It's still 3 position here up on the top, 1, 2, 3. Big 10 millimeter holes on the inside of the EPS, so airflow still should be quite good. They've redesigned this chin bar vent here. Instead of having this flipper vent, they have just kind of a more traditional vent here. And this is removable, so you can clean it, get bugs out of it if you need to. Snaps up and down. Rear passive ventilation, just way up at the top here. Again, this has been smoothed out. And that about does it on the ventilation front. Again, always with modular helmets, if you are too hot and you care to run with it in the open position, you can do so. And you notice there were actually 2 detents here. So there's the first one. Whoops. And then there's a second harder detent. If you're going to cruise around with this in the open position, I recommend you doing that. There's no lockout device to keep it fixed, but when it's in the full 90 degrees position on the second detent, it should not dance around on you. And the older one only had 1 detent. Okay, so if you're down to ride more exposed, there is a, you know, just in terms of safety compromise riding like this, but you can do so to get some more airflow. Let's talk about the face shield. So we have a new face shield here. If you've got the your collection of high-end face shields for your Neotec 2, you were hoping they were going to transfer over to the Neotec 3. No, no, no. You get to rebuy it all. But it is sturdier, number one. I don't know if the injection molding process was different or just the design made it a little sturdier. I mean, the thickness seems to be about the same, but it is just sturdier. The other thing about the way that it seals is just way better. So the old one just had one of these little side tabs over here. There's no actual locking device, and it's sealed okay. But if you really want to get a nice firm seal, you go with a switch like this. So it is actually the stripping on this, the gasket is nice and tight, and you gotta give it a nice positive push. You hear that snap? So a better seal, less leakage of water and wind, which is what you want when you're on long touring rides. If you want to hit this button and just press it without lifting the shield, you will get a demist setting. That's gonna allow a little bit of airflow. It's a great situation to help cool you down or deal with fog. Now, it is pin lock ready, more on that in a second, to deal with fog. But just the way this closes and seals is superior to the Neotec 2. It's gonna be a better riding experience. So that is the first part of the face shield that's different. The subtle thing, one of the other subtle things you can't see probably very well, is that this pivot kit, there is a rubber round gasket now inside of this pivot kit to help seal this helmet down even more. Again, real subtle changes. They're going to make a difference when they are all added up. The pin lock inserts, or the pin lock tabs here, I don't call them nipples anymore. Producer Matt said don't call them nipples. That's weird. Don't do that. Okay, so these not nipples, these hold your interior pin lock visor that's going to help you deal with fog. That is included, as they should, for $1,000, okay? So you're gonna install that on the inside of this face shield. You're gonna get a dual pane mechanism. Fog is no longer a problem. Now, what they've done is they've moved the knot nipples, they've moved them further back out of your peripheral vision when compared to the Neotec 2. Again, one of those small things that we didn't notice when we first saw the helmet until the folks at Shoei told us about it. So they move these back. It's better for the peripheral vision. Okay. Let's talk about the chin bar real quick and one of the main concepts in the design that I should have brought up a second ago. The idea with the Neotec 3, like I told you, aero and keeping it quieter, one of the primary ways they've done that is redesign the shell and make the chin bar to helmet connection. They call it seamless. I mean, there's still a seam, but it's just a little different. Okay, so this is where the seam is right here. You notice there's this kind of big dead space, and then you flip this chin bar up, and you see that big hard ridge right here. Okay, apparently that is not as sound in terms of reducing noise as the new design. So you notice the new design, there is actually this plastic piece that's attached to the exterior of the shell to smooth this out, to put the crease or the seam underneath this chin bar when it's closed, okay? So this is supposed to make the helmet quieter. It also hides, one of those rivets. So you notice there's 2 rivets for the chin straps on the interior. On the old one here, one down here, and now I think one of them is actually hidden by this panel. So when the chin bar is closed, it gives it a cleaner look, but it also makes it quieter. According to Shoei, this is a seamless design, okay? All right, back to the shields. Another subtle improvement. Interior drop-down sun visor is now, actuated 5 millimeters lower, which is great. The interior sun visors on a lot of helmets are just a little bit too high. They're in your line of sight, and they're just letting more sun flow in around them than they should. I like that they dropped that down a little bit more. Actuator is over here on the left side. Nice smooth action, and just the way visors close and actuate and the chin bar actuates on a Shoei compared to less expensive modular helmets just instills a certain sort of confidence, like slamming the car door on like a high-end car. You just thud, you get that nice seal. Okay, let's talk about the chin bar. This spring right here is way tighter, and overall the way it locks down is firmer and more secure than the Neotec 2. It takes about 2 or 3 times the pressure as the old one, so you can open that up. Otherwise, when they're open and you're looking at them, they look pretty similar, right? Okay, that's enough of the exterior. Let's look at what's going on the inside. We talked about the comm system. On the inside, there are speaker pockets for the SRL3 kit. Okay. The way you make a helmet quieter, one of the top ways, is to make a better seal around the bottom of your face. The way you do that is with a more pronounced cheek pad or some sort of neck roll system. So there's different ways to kind of attack that seal. Now the Neotec 2 had a pretty solid cheek pad to get underneath your chin bone and seal off your ears from that noisy machine and the wind rushing underneath your helmet. You should also make sure your helmet fits nice and snug. A helmet that's too comfortable out of the box will break in over time, get loose, sloppy, and loud because it's gonna vibrate around. Okay, back to what they've done here. So these cheek pads have an extra 5 millimeter throw on the bottom edge to really seal off your ears and make the helmet quieter. You also notice this cheek pad is no longer this mesh material. They've gone with kind of this synthetic leather finish, and that's gonna allow less air to flow in. All right, so noise, arrow. That's hard to say 3 times in a row. That's the name of the game here. The buckle, a little bit smaller than the old one. They're still going with their micrometic ratcheting system. I think that's what it's called. Producer Matt, did I get that right? I think so, more or less. Okay, so they're going with this ratcheting system. You notice, unlike some of the other ones, these are very polarizing We hear feedback from people. Some people say they don't trust a ratcheting system. Should it be plastic? Should it be metal? Well, Shoei seems to know what they're doing. They've been one of the top producers of high-end motorbike helmets for decades now. They've chosen to go with a metal one. So, I don't know. Metal usually makes me feel better over a polymer or plastic for what it's worth there. Cheek pads. There are options on the cheek pads and headliner. If you need help fine-tuning your Neotec 3, well, you should shop with SpeedX. We do that no problem here, as well as offering free exchanges and returns. If you have an issue with the fit, we're going to give you a free return label. Get the helmet on the way back here, get you the size or color you're after. Or if you just decide the helmet's not for you, remember, Speed Addicts, we got no cost returns over here. To qualify, you need to live in lower 48 states and make sure the helmet's brand new in the original packaging. And you're just going to get treated like family, get that free return label, not nickel and dimed like those other guys. Okay, here is your cheek pad. This is a size large with a 35 millimeter cheek pad system. We'll move that out of the way, and we will expose those speaker pockets that are going to be used to house your Harman Kardon speakers for your listening pleasure. There's your other cheek pad. Okay, you see how it's got this bottom lip on it that sticks out, and then these noise isolators. This is all about keeping sound out of your ear holes, and then we're going to remove the rest of this liner. Now, as far as the materials, the overall feel when you're inside of the helmet, you really won't notice a difference, okay? Between this and the Neotec 2, they both kind of have this ducting to allow the air that's coming in through the EPS to get right onto your scalp. We like that, and the overall materials that they're using are very, very similar. There it is. And of course, they go with this brow snap instead of snaps in the front. We got 2 on the rear. And the EPS, multi-density EPS liner that is DOT certified. Now, that's one thing we didn't get into earlier, but this helmet's going to come into the US with the DOT certification and not dual labeled with that ECE 2206, that new ECE stuff. Why this has happened? Not sure yet. We're seeing that a lot of Shoei's competitors too when it comes to helmets that are modular. There has to be some sort of technical issue that's difficult for manufacturers to overcome to get a helmet to both pass that ECE 2206 and DOT at the same time. When we have more information on why manufacturers aren't able to do that or have decided not to do that in many cases, including the Neotec 3, we'll give you an update. But here's the EPS liner. In terms of the venting scheme here and the design, it's very similar to the Neotec 2. We've got channels and these 2 big 10 millimeter ports here on the front end, and then back to that passive ventilation in the back. Here are your speaker pockets, and then we have a channel for that boom microphone that you're going to be using as it's a modular helmet. There you have it. It is the Shoei Neotec 3. We expect it to be the top seller when it comes to ultra premium modular vertical here at speedaddicts.com. Our team is going to know this helmet inside and out. So if you have more questions, throw them in the comment section or call our writer support team. Even better, phone, email, live chat. They're there to help you. Remember, no cost returns. Makes it very easy to shop for helmets here at Speed Addicts. That's all I got for you today. We'll see you next time to find out what's in the crate.